Mother of Jesus H. Titties, it is Grizzle Marine. It is currently 4 AM for me, folks, and today I'm happy to announce that we are getting 4 brand new hunters and 1 awesome new monster. And I'm going to go in this video into depth as much as possible about what I think is going to be coming for these new hunters. So just to let you guys know, this is probably the first video on YouTube about these new hunters, because I literally just nicked it off the stream, hopped straight into Sony Vegas, and now going to try and talk about this new 5th tier for Evolve. But did you think that was all Evolve showed on the stream? No. They showed 1 of the new tier, just to make it that little bit more of a tease. So, I'm happy to reveal, or show for some of you probably for the first time, the new Assault Lennox. So, the first female Assault Lennox has been revealed, and is the only tier that has been revealed so far, guys. And she is a beast. There's been a lot of talk about her before in the past, or sort of hints towards what this Assault was going to be, and everyone was pretty much dead on. Basically, an old woman who has built herself a huge fucking suit to take down monsters, and she just seems like a beast. Now, I am going to talk about her towards the end of the video, because they actually did reveal everything she has, so I'm going to get onto her later. Now, like I have in past videos, I'm going to go through each of the hunters and the new monster and talk about exactly what I think they will be, because Evolve have not released for the rest of this tier any names yet or anything to do with what they could be. But first off here, we have the new Trapper. So he/she is the first of all hunters to have dual wielding weapons. Now, I'm going to go back to the Evolve concept art, and I like to bring this out because this is the best way we can have an idea of what we might be seeing when these hunters eventually get revealed. And the only hunter that happened to have exactly the same weapons as this new Trapper happened to be Abe. So quite clearly, Abe's sort of, as I was saying with these characters in this concept art, they do get switched around in terms of what weapons and such happens. So this hunter's the first to have dual wielding, by the looks of it, pistols, which will be really interesting to see. Looking at some other similarities, it does happen that he or she seems to have samurai swords sticking out the back of this particular Trapper. So that, in this concept art, seems to be similar to Kiko. And Kiko also happens to have dual wielding weapons. So again, some inspiration may have come from that. And that might also mean that this kind of hunter is going to be one of those hunters that's going to be quite up close, very much like Lennox is. The last similarity that I could find was Wotan, simply because of the horns. And then that begs the question, is this thing even human? Because of course through Slim and Bucket we are going to be getting hunters that are not actually human, from different worlds, or even robotic. So this hunter could be robotic, it could be from another world. We don't know what it's going to be at all. It looks like some kind of like Viking helmet, so that's what it could be, but then again it might not be, and it actually might be part of the living being. Lastly, with this particular Trapper, he or she seems to have some sort of ropey things going up his or hers arms, which could be potentially wires, which then might lead on to this thing perhaps being part robotic. So again, that leaves a big question. And the last big question that I leave with this Trapper is how it is going to track, because one thing that I could not think of, and I've been thinking this for a long time now, is same with medics as well, is how is this going to work? So how is this Trapper going to track? I could not think off the top of my head how any other Trapper could be made and how it could be trackable. So I don't know whether this is going to be done with some sort of sound or some sort of special method. I have no idea. So again, make sure that you leave any ideas down in the comments. The comments are all there for discussion, and I want to hear what you guys think. So we move on to the medic. Now, One problem that I think Evolve would probably have when making new content for the game is coming up with new ways to track for trappers and new ways to heal for medics. So again, leaves another big question. How the hell is this medic going to heal? And to be honest, this image does not give a lot away at all. The only thing I can really say is above its right arm, does seem to have something floating there. Whether that could be some sort of drone, a bit like Slim's healing bug, I have no clue. The other thing I wanted to sort of point out is the fact this thing seems to have some sort of gas mask looking thing on, or it actually looks a bit like a sort of robotic head. So that also moves on to its left arm. It looks a bit robotic. So this could potentially be another fully sort of robotic hunter. I also couldn't find any of the concept art that really could sort of relate to this particular hunter. So again, any ideas, guys? Do leave them in the comments and discuss. Lastly, out of the hunters, we have the support, and this one has actually interested me quite a lot. Now, just by looking at its hand, it does give off sort of the signal that this is not human. Now, the other thing that I think is really important to notice is it also doesn't have a weapon at all in its hands. So that is probably a huge hint to perhaps what this thing could be. Don't get me wrong though, it might just not have its weapon out at this particular time. It could be in its back pocket because by the looks of it, it does have a lot of gear on its sort of hips. So this weird hooded thing has its hand out a little bit like Lazarus with his Lazarus device. So I don't know whether this thing has some sort of mystical powers that it uses through its arms. You can also see a few wires going through to its arm, so whether that could be something that's actually added onto its arm that could be used to do damage or help other, teammates, I don't know. Again, I couldn't really find any concept art that really related to this hunter, but if you look closely at his or her left arm, you can see it looks rather normal, and then looking closer at his or her right arm, you can actually see that there actually is, a normal looking arm and normal looking hand, but there's some weird things coming out of the fingertips. So this actually could be, just looking, at a second sort of point of view of it, this could be human and could be something to do with what comes out of its hand that, does obviously something that's going to buff your teammates, which is the role of the support. So guys, as soon as I get any more information about this new tier of hunters, I will be sure to let you know, but I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it. So now, let's move on to what is very, very interesting, which is the monster. So first thing I would like to say before I actually get into things about this monster, I fucking told you so for those of you that watch my video. Now, I did talk about a monster that was potentially going to be a parasite, and looking at the sort of concept art for this parasite idea of a monster that Evolve had quite a while ago, it matches pretty damn well. I won't get into too much detail about that video, but basically the idea was that there was going to be a big monster that releases little parasite monsters to attack the hunters. Now, this thing doesn't look big enough for that kind of thing. And as you can clearly tell, this thing in size in comparison to all the other sort of monsters is very, very small. Now that is going to mean a completely different strategy when playing as this particular monster. So in terms of the way you actually play as this monster, I'm thinking it's going to be a more of a maybe even trapping or slowing down the hunters and even possibly poisoning the hunters to try and weaken them so that when you actually go in for some sort of melee attack, it does a lot more damage. One thing that Turtle Rock did say when they were talking about the 5th monster is this thing was fucking scary, and holy shit did they deliver. With a human-like face on a spider-like body, this thing looks crazy, looks like it's going to be fast, darting around, and is going to be very, very hard to get hold of and trap. The last thing I can say about this monster is I don't think, from the idea of a monster that actually releases parasites, from the size of it, I can't imagine that would be a thing. But I think poisoning and trapping could be a big potential for this monster, and I absolutely cannot wait until, Evolve release it, and I'll be sure, again, to make sure I bring any news to you guys as soon as possible. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, Lennox is the only one out of this tier that has been released, so I am now happy to show you the full video for Lennox.
Hello world, this is DB Sinclair here with your boy Shaq. What up? And this is the world premiere exclusive look at Lennox, the new Assault character in Evolve.
Yeah, Dave, this is the first female Assault character to come to evolve, and she is the first hunter to be revealed in Hunting Season 2, and boy does she pack a punch. Lennox is this badass lady who has created her own mech suit from the wreckage on Shear, and that mech suit is called the Thunder Child.
The Thunder Child has 3 unique abilities: the Plasma Lance, which is a melee whip strike, the Autocannon, the anti-aircraft inspired weapon, and the Thunder Strike, a jet-boosted leap that's basically the equivalent of Goliath's Leap Smash, but on the other side of the fence, hunters jumping in on the monster.
She's got a lot of cool new abilities, but she also is a little bit different from the other characters in a special way.
Right.
She actually takes a big punch, and boom, you saw it right there with that rock throw. She did not tumble back, so she's the only hunter that is going to stand her ground when she is hit with a large attack like a big rock throw. And another one comes at the hunters right there, and we've got a good match coming up right here.
Yes, I love seeing her stand her ground and be able to jump right back in the fight there. Let's talk about that Plasma Lance. Each successful strike adds another +1 multiplier, or 1 times multiplier. So 1 times, 2 times, 3 times, potentially 4 damage at the cap. But it is worth noting that getting damaged as Lenny will reset the multiplier, a miss will reset the multiplier, and not hitting again within the time window also resets the multiplier. Talk about the reticle and the rest of the signals on screen to let you know how you're doing as Lennox.
Yeah, the reticle will be red when you're in range.
So Lennox, the biggest, baddest Assault yet, doesn't get hit back by monsters, has essentially a electric whip, is able to do an equivalent of a Goliath Leap Smash, and has an anti-aircraft weapon. Holy fucking shit. All I can say is Evolve fucking delivered. It's been your boy Grizzle Marine. If you're new, subscribe. I'll be bringing out any information on these new hunters and monster as soon as I can. Otherwise than that, see you guys fucking later. Love ya!